Good morning, everyone. This is Barry Fair here. It's 9 o'clock on Monday morning, the 11th of August, and I'm here to open episode 92 for you, and I hope that you've had a good night and a good sleep. Well, today I've got a lot to tell you about on episode 92, which is coming up shortly. So I hope that you have a happy and safe and positive week. And like I said last night, if you're upset about something, talk to someone about it. Don't bottle it all up. So I will tell you what's coming up later on the show, which is coming up very shortly at Lifestyles. Well, just very quickly, I had a very good breakfast today of porridge and apricots. So I will talk about the benefits of having a good breakfast as well. So I better get off to my day option now, and I will catch up with you at Lifestyles. This is Barry Fair. The time is 2 minutes after 9 o'clock. It's Monday, the 11th of August. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the long-awaited episode 92. The last time we spoke to you was on episode 91, which was 3 weeks ago. And the last time we talked to you, we did the van video. And that was exciting. So we're going to be doing a bit of editing on that. And to open episode 92 today, we've got a mouth-watering recipe for you, and it's called butterfly cakes. Now, on the show, we've been talking about having fresh ingredients, okay, and checking dates, the use-by dates for when you're cooking and preheating your oven to the right temperature. And joining me now in the studio, it's a very big welcome back to Alexander after his holiday in Fiji. Hope you've got a good suntan there. Good morning and welcome back.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks for having me back. Not a big suntan. I'm very sun safe, very conscious about the sun and use sunscreen a lot. But yeah, it was a great trip and it's great to be back with you.
So, before we get on to butterfly cakes, which is our opening recipe today, it is important to plan your trip well. Have a valid passport. Make sure you pack what you need for your holiday. Here's Alex now to open episode 92 with this.
Yeah, great advice, Barry. Particularly if you're going to travel to another country, making sure that your passport is valid and also has at least 6 months of validity on it. So quite a lot of countries these days only accept you into the country if you've got 6 months on your passport. So that's the expiry date. And you also need to check Do I need a visa? Do I need some vaccinations? All sorts of things to think about when you're heading to another country on a holiday.
So, the most important thing we always talk about on the show is health before you go away. We have also mentioned this on the show. Are you well enough to go? Do you know where the medical center is where you're going? So you need to really focus on organizing your trip properly and making sure you know where you're going and how much it's going to cost you and your mates. Here's Alec now.
Yeah, that's good advice, mate. Good to get prepared, understand, whether you need some currency in another country or will your local currency be sufficient, but usually it's not. Usually you need, like, for example, Fiji dollars, which is what we needed when we went to Fiji. And also it's good to, prepare some supplies. So we bought, before we went, some ibuprofen, and made a little first aid kit for ourselves with some bug spray and some other things, which was nice, and we prepared that before we went away and took it with us.
And also go to your doctor and get checked over as well, because that is important, because you must be fit to fly, because if you are sick before you go or wakes out before you go, then that's all the hard work that you put in out the window. So really make sure you look after your health and make sure you check on your websites where if there are COVID cases over in that country. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. Good idea to keep an eye on information about the country you're going to, and definitely a good idea to stay healthy before you go. And just as an example, my wife and I, we didn't go to a couple of events in the last week before we left because we didn't want to expose ourselves to COVID.
And I will just
You want to pause it?
Yeah. Welcome back. So, if you're going to a country, before you go, always make sure that you're going to a place where there's no COVID, okay? Always look up on your websites whether there is COVID around. And if you do happen to go to a country where there's COVID, wear a mask. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to think about things like that. And not just COVID too. So some countries have other diseases that you need vaccinations for or that you need to be aware of. But good to think about what it's going to be like in the destination that you're going to.
And always check with your airlines as well the departure times from your country, like Australia, and check the time zones as well. Here's Alec.
Absolutely. And I actually have known a few people who have made some mistakes with their travel because they've booked things and haven't realized that the time will be different when they get to a certain place. So it's good to think about what the time will be in the place that you're going to, and to kind of think about what it will be like getting there.
So if you're going to New York, it will be nighttime over there. Okay, and if you're going to somewhere like America, okay, there is a dateline. So you will notice that. Here's Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you fly from Australia to America, you fly over the date line and you effectively go backwards in time. So they're a day behind in America, and there are also many hours, depending on where you are in America, many hours difference. So usually during the day here is at night time in America.
So, and always check the weather conditions too before you go. Have a look at the weather forecast. Here's Alex.
Now that is great advice, mate. So it's good to have a sense of what the weather will be like and pack accordingly. And of course it can change as well. So weather forecasts are never 100% accurate, but it's a good idea to have a sense of what it will be like when you get there and to prepare for it.
And have transport booked as well for when you get to the other end. Here's Alex.
That's right. So depending on where you need to go, so whether it's to a hotel or to another place, to another part, to another plane, or to a ferry or something, you have to think about how am I going to get from the airport to the next place that I'm going to.
And if you have someone in a wheelchair, okay, make sure that you book, tell the airlines that you got someone in a wheelchair so they can organize a hoist for your passenger. Here's Alex.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So when you've got someone in a wheelchair, the airlines, they're all set up for it. And in Australia, airlines are required to have services for accessible services for people living with a disability. But you do need to tell them beforehand, don't you? You can't just rock up on the day. You need to say at least the day before that you are going to be needing the services, and then they'll be ready to go for when you get there.
And tell the airlines about dietary requirements as well. Here's Alex.
Yeah, that's good advice as well, mate. So usually on plane trips, certainly plane trips that are longer than about an hour or two, you'll quite often get fed something by the flight attendants. And so it's a really good idea to let the airline know if you do have any dietary requirements so that what they feed you is suitable and matches your requirements.
And make sure that you tell the airline the day that you're flying and coming back. Get them to send you the flight details of the time your flight is from either Sydney or to Brisbane, the day you're going to Brisbane and when you are coming back. Here's Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. And that usually happens when you book, doesn't it? So if you book a plane, usually what happens is the airline will then send you an email confirming it. And it will have all of the details about the day that you're going and the plane that you're on and what seat you'll be in and all of those.
And the gate number.
Well, quite often the gate number you don't find until you get to the airport. So they do sometimes will move planes around between gates, depending on what's happening in the airport. So usually I think the gate number is something that you discover when you get to the airport, but all of the other information the airline will send to you in a confirmation email.
And make sure you get to the airport in plenty of time if you're going overseas. And make sure that your client has a valid passport. Otherwise, all the hard work is gone.
Yeah, you don't want to rock up to the airport and not have a valid passport and not be able to go where you want to go. So that's a very important thing that that you need to check a long time in advance, actually. You can't leave that too late. There are fast track methods for getting new passports or renewed passports, but even they take at least a week. So, a few days anyway.
We will close the show on all of this later on, but let's go on to segment 2 today, which is a couple of recipes from the Bake at Home cookbook. The time is now 6 minutes to 11. Today's recipes come from the Bake at Home cookbook, and there it is on your screen now. This segment is proudly brought to you by the Australian Women's Weekly, and delightfully sweet recipes to bake yourselves happy, which is the slogan. And today we're going to be talking about butterfly cakes.
Butterfly cakes.
And don't they look great? Look at that, everybody. Look at that. Okay, so what you need for this? 250 grams of butter, softened, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, half a cup of sugar, super fine sugar, 3 eggs, 2.5 cups of soft raising flour, and you need 2/3 of a cup of milk, 60 mils, 1 cup of thick and heavy cream, 250 mils, and half a cup of raspberry jam, or is that?
That's right.
And then 2 teaspoons of confectionery sugar, icing sugar, and prep plus cooking time 50 minutes plus cooling and sanding, and it makes 12. Okay, preheat your oven to 180 degrees 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Line a 12-hole, half a cup muffin pan with paper cases. Beat the butter, caster sugar, eggs, sifted flour and milk in a small bowl with an electric mixer on low speed until ingredients are just combine. Increase the speed to medium heat for 5 minutes to medium bake for 3 minutes.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
I'll pause that.
To bake for 3 minutes.
Bake for 3 minutes or until mixture is smooth and pale in color. Spoon level 1.5 cups of the mixture into the paper cases. Bake cakes for 20 minutes or until a skewer inserted into the center comes out clean. Leave cakes in pan for 5 minutes before transferring on wire rack to cool. Okay, now the reason this step is important is because you don't want to put the icing onto the hot cakes. Here's Alec now for this.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. So you want to let the cakes cool down so that they don't kind of melt the jam and so that they're easier to cut into the butterflies.
So step 4, beat cream in a bowl with an electric mixer until soft peaks form, okay? And step 5, using a small sharp knife, cut a circle from the top of each cake, not
To make 2 wings.
to make 2 wings,
Yep.
and then fill centers with jam and cream.
Yep.
Position wings on each top of cakes just before serving, dust with sifted icing sugar. Swap and use your favorite jam instead of the raspberry jam. Okay? And storage. Store unfilled cakes in a container for up to 2 days. Fill cakes just before serving.
Nice.
Okay, so this recipe is on page 23, and we'll just show you that recipe again for those of you tuning in at home. So the important thing is, before you start to cook anything, make sure you've got fresh, good ingredients. Here's Alec now.
Yeah, that's very good advice, mate. So you want fresh eggs, fresh milk, everything, the fresher everything is, the yummier your food will be. So great
Because
advice.
if you use off ingredients, no.
No. Now, particularly things like milk, eggs and cream, they will just taste bad. They can even make you sick, so you definitely need fresh ingredients.
And for those that are lactose intolerant, okay, consider the person's dietary needs. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some interesting things you can swap out there. So for the milk, instead of cow's milk, you could use something like oat milk or soy milk possibly. And there are also substitutes for cream, aren't there? What's a substitute for cream?
Lactose-free cream.
Right. So yeah, you can substitute out for people who are lactose intolerant.
So if you use off-step things, guys, okay, you will be very sick. And always preheat your oven to the right temperature. And like I've also said before, don't let the kids near hot appliances. They must, we repeat, they must be supervised by an adult. Here's Alec.
Yeah, that's very good advice, mate. So particularly little kids, you want to make sure that they're always supervised, and you've got to watch them carefully. Make sure that they're not near anything that's hot or sharp.
Because always supervise your kid. This is segment 3 today on the recipe segment here on the show. And that recipe, the butterfly cakes, it was on page 23. So, Monte Carlos, okay? Then they are like the ones you buy in the store, but these are the homemade ones. Okay? So, Monte Carlos, they're like filled with jam and cream.
Oops, sorry.
Now, the preparation and cooking time, 45 minutes plus standing and cooling, and it makes 22. Okay, and for this you need about 180 grams of butter chopped and softened, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, half a cup, or is that right?
That's right.
Half a cup of firmly packed brown sugar, 2 eggs, 2.5 cups of self-raising flour, okay? Half a cup of, is that right?
Yep.
Half a cup of self all-purpose flour, half a cup of desiccated coconut, and half a cup of raspberry jam. Okay, is that a third of a cup?
No, that's a quarter of a cup.
A quarter of a cup of raspberry jam.
Yep.
And what's that? Is that half a cup of desiccated?
Yep. You got that one.
Okay, so half a cup of desiccated coconut and a quarter of a cup of raspberry jam.
Yep.
So for the cream filling, 60 grams of butter chopped, a quarter of a teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a cup of icing sugar, and 2 teaspoons of milk. Okay. So again, preheat your oven to 180 degrees to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? So grease 2 oven trays with baking paper. Beat the butter, vanilla, sugar, and eggs in a small bowl with an electric mixer until smooth, okay? Transfer the mixture into a large bowl with stirring sifted flour and coconut in 2 batches until combined. Step 3, roll level tablespoon of mixture into oval shapes. You should have at least 22 ovals. Place 2 to 3 centimeters, 1 meter apart on trays. Flatten slightly. Rub edge surface with a fork. Bake for 20 minutes.
12 minutes.
12 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Or into a biscuit and push gently without breaking. Leave biscuits on trays for 5 minutes before transferring on wire racks to cool. Okay? So again, don't put the cream into hot biscuits.
Oops. Yeah.
Because it will melt the jam and cream. Okay? step, that was step 4.
That's fine.
Now step 5,
Oh, sorry, mate.
step 5 is make the cream filling. Okay? So the cream filling. Beat the butter, vanilla and sifted icing sugar in a small bowl with an electric mixer and some pale and fluffy. Beat in milk until combined. Okay? So keeps sandwich biscuits will keep refrigerated in an airtight container for up to 2 days. Until the plain biscuits will keep in an airtight container at room temperature up to 1 week. Okay? So this recipe is on page 63 and we'll show it to you again. Here's Alex.
What a great recipe, mate. And a standard biscuit in Australia, Monte Carlos. What a classic.
They are a classic.
Yeah. And a really yummy sounding recipe. Nice one.
So this segment has been brought to you today by the Australian Women's Weekly, Bake at Home, a great wet weather activity. Here's Alex.
Yeah, what a great one, mate. A great magazine, great book of baking recipes. Lots of very yummy ideas in there and making me very hungry.
Well, the time is 11 minutes after 11. Here's the closing segment. Before we go today, we had a bit of sad news which I won't go into on the show today. Very unfortunate, and it is a bit of a rough time at the moment, so that's why we are cutting today's show short. Thank you once again. Thank you for joining us on the show today. I'm just going through the rules and booking your flights and holidays and help again. Always make sure you're prepared properly. Here's Alex now.
Yeah, mate, lots of great advice for expecting travellers and also lots of great yummy recipes today. A couple of great recipes for very yummy sweet things, baked goods.
And cooking is a great way of using up your time and if you've got nothing to do, guys, get the kids involved, but remember, supervise your kids. Here's Alex.
Absolutely, good advice, mate. Always make sure that it's a good thing to do to include your kids, but just make sure you do it safely.
So we'd like to thank you for joining us today on episode 92. We hope that you've enjoyed it, and we certainly have. And the message that we bring up every time here on the show is using 000 properly and not misusing it. Do not, and we repeat, Do not call 000 for stupid prank trivial issues, because you are potentially putting someone at risk. Here's Alec now for his closing message on this.
Mate, always a good community service announcement. Only use 000 in an emergency.
Don't bugger around with it or think it's a practical joke, because it's not, because you will get into serious trouble with the police, and you may be summoned to appear in court. Okay, so guys, really do think it's your urgency and emergency before you ring those 3 zeros, because right now the 000 operators are vastly more busy than you might give thought to. So if you see any emergency vehicle, such as a police car, fire engine or ambulance, give thought to those people and the call takers as well. Here's Alec.
Yeah, absolutely. Always consider those people, because they've got important jobs, and quite often they're saving lives.
So don't muck around with 000 and think it's a number for chit-chatting when it's not. Okay? If you, by all means, if you've got a medical emergency, or if you feel threatened, like you're in trouble, then ring 000, but if not, please leave the operators alone to let them get on with such an important job, because they don't have time for time wasters. And that's where we must close episode 92 today. It is 17 minutes after 11 o'clock on this Monday morning, a cold Monday morning. So I'm off to put today's show up now. We'll see you next time on episode 93. We've got a cracking show coming up in 2 weeks from this day, and also our radio show. Stay tuned for that, coming up very soon. It's the hits from 1977. So we're going to take you back to that year, and here's Alex to take us out with that.
Yeah, mate, a few really good shows coming up. Should be a lot of fun. As you say, a radio show and an outing in the van, and just lots of fun we've got planned for the next few weeks.
And we hope that you will join us, because we've got plenty of shows coming up, and we might even have some more recipes to keep you entertained as well, and tips for the school holidays too, coming up at the end of September. So we've got a fun show coming up. So we do hope that you will join us then. But in the meantime, you have a great Monday, rest of Monday, and Alec and I will see you next time on episode 93, coming up on Monday. The date is
25th, is it?
25th of...
I think it's 25th.
The 25th of August.
Yep.
So we'll see you on August 25, and we'll also be taking out the winter series as well and saying hello to spring as well.
Yeah.
So on
nice.
that note,
Can't wait.
on that note, farewell everybody, and here's Alex for his farewell message now.
Thanks for having me on the show, mate.
And,
Always fun.
and keep your feet on the ground, everybody, and stay tuned, because you know when we bring the show. But until then, as Tony Barber used to say at the end of Salem Century, keep smiling and bye for now. This has been a Barry Fair production. Barry Fair speaking. Well, here we are at the end of episode 92. Thanks for joining me here on episode 92. And we hope that you've enjoyed it. Stay tuned for episode 93 coming up very soon. I hope that you will join me and Alex for episode 93 coming up 2 weeks from today. And we've got a bumper episode to bring you, so join Alex Taylor and myself as we bring you episode 93 coming up in 2 weeks. Until I do another video with you, until the next episode from me, Barry Fair, it's a very good afternoon to you and to all the viewers. And we hope that you enjoy episode 92. It's got some mouth-watering recipes in there. Okay, so if you love biscuits and stuff like that, stay tuned for that. Watch segment 2 on Monte Carlos and things like that. So that is the end of episode 92. Episode 92 has now drawn to a close. The time now is 22 minutes after 4 o'clock here on Monday, and I look forward to doing another video with you on Thursday and Friday of this week. But until I see you again, see you for the next episode from me, Barry Fair. Have a great Monday, and remember, if you're upset about something, say something, guys. Don't keep it all in. So until the next time, until the next episode, it's bye for now.